Oh hi, yes, I am wearing my acne patch. Thank you for noticing. For some reason, I get really nervous before filming videos. Probably has something to do with The Artist Way. The Artist Way has been one of the best decisions I've made. Yes, it was long and required commitment and dedication to things I lacked sometimes. I just feel like there are no words to actually describe the difference it's made in my, creativity and spirituality as well. So the Artist Way is basically like a spiritual guide to your inner artist. And all you need to get started is the book. If you want the actual book, you can get it at thrift books for like $5, or I use the PDF. Honestly, the whole book itself is like $20. Super low commitment, money-wise. Time, on the other hand, you will need to spend a little time. First requirement is that you have to do morning pages every day. It is 7:47. I did my morning pages, which I've talked about in previous videos. And you also have to take yourself out on an artist date every week. So I'm about to go to this, I think it's like art, but you get to pretend you're a kindergartner. In addition to that, every week you read a new chapter and you can do some exercises that are really actually beneficial to help you get back to the core of your artistness. And I just did the exercise for week 3 and I've been skipping the exercises, honestly. I really opened my eyes. I don't trust myself. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and do the other one. I found myself resisting the entire process and I kept fighting myself to do it. But honestly, that's like a theme in my artist life in general. I resist things that will help me. But actually what kept me accountable is that I did it with some friends and we were just texting the group chat of what we did that week. It was super low key, but it did help me keep accountable because in the middle I definitely wanted to quit. I get distracted. So glad I did finish. So I kind of want to share with you my experience as well as some really important lessons that I learned from the Artist Way journey. Everybody is an artist. It just depends on if they're a block artist or not. We all have an inner artist inside of us. It's just that through living in this commercial world where it's kind of wrong to create. And through this program, you're able to kind of be the parent to your inner child that helps you realign yourself with child you, recovering a sense of safety. Art is scary. Why? Well, it's vulnerable. It's rare for a child to just be accepted and cherished for their art. Probably that the parents' fear of creating art that was passed down from their parents has become kind of what they do to their kids. And the parents' fears are then transferred to their children. And it's this fear of putting ourselves out there, not being loved, accepted. For many families, a career in the art only exists outside of social and economic reality. Art won't pay the electric bill. As a result, the child is encouraged to consider art in job terms. Soon it's stacked underneath a pile of tax returns. Who wants to dig in there, Creativity is play, but the shadow artist learning to allow themselves to play is hard work. It's safe and easy to, hard and easy in different ways. It's safe to stick to a job that creates money, but it's scary to show anybody your painting because you put your heart and soul into that. It's scary to create because we're afraid that our art won't be good enough. To me, it's even scarier to not try at all. I'm afraid of the actions not taken that I would regret on my deathbed. What is a life if we don't take leaps of faith? Remember, we are our own biggest critics, and other people's judgment is just a judgment on themselves. A big part of the artist recovery is letting go of the ego. Art is the most vulnerable thing of all. And if someone else tells you that it sucks, it sounds like to you, I suck. And that's only because we have identified ourselves with the art. And that's egoic, just like if we identify ourselves with the voice in our head, then the ego is just our fears, just blown up. It's the fear side of us. It's a part of us that's always telling us we're not good enough, because deep down inside, maybe that's how we really feel. These are core negative beliefs that are detrimental to all artists, and honestly, all humans. Ultimately, it's a fear of abandonment, a fear of not being cherished for our work, being picked, not being good enough. If our art isn't good enough, we are not good enough. And she says in the book that this whole process kind of sounds like we're going sane. It may look and feel erratic and the people around you might be like, what's going on with them? But in reality, going sane actually looks insane because we live in a world that is insane. So everybody else is insane. I'm sure that's what someone in a mental hospital would say. And another important part I wanted to bring up from this chapter is when she talked about poisonous playmates. These poisonous playmates, or people that think you're going kind of insane, are just blocked creatives themselves who are, scared of you because you're doing the thing that they can't. It's likely that they'll be threatened by your recovery if you're an alcoholic, and your alcoholic friends won't be supportive of your unalcoholism. Your friends want to feel comfort in their indulgence. This is a trap. We can't let other people stop us from pursuing this journey that's going to do such wonders, but has done such wonders. And it doesn't matter if these people intended to do it or not. If they make you feel that way, then it's not worth it. Once we realize that art is only scary because of the egoic mind, and that our core negative beliefs aren't ultimately untrue, we can let the power of art emerge. Vulnerability is also scary because of the power that art actually holds to be able to make people feel a certain way. Anger has always been thought of as a negative emotion, and it is negative in the sense that it does make you feel a negative way. Since it's that negative, it needs to be suppressed. And when we're angry, we just want to burst out. Instead, we do the complete opposite and go and I'm not saying that you should just start gung-ho and kill people that make you angry, don't go do the things that you're actually thinking of. I'm not thinking about murder. I just want you all to know that we can actually pour that anger into our art, and it lets us know what the true feelings are, because, anger is never it's just a surface emotion. It's not the real core emotion. And through this experience, I actually started to feel the synchronicities come into my life. But there's also, with those synchronicities, kind of this, if our prayers are answered, then that means that we have to be responsible. And because it seems so crazy, I'm just okay, crazy. And I've been having some crazy synchronicities. For example, every time I go on YouTube, the song Surrender comes up, and I'm pretty sure the universe is just telling me not to check subscribers or whatever, disregarded as kind of chance, a coincidence rather than an act of God, the universe, a greater power. And you know what? It might just be a lot of mystical mumbo jumbo. I don't know. And I used to kind of be that way too, but I just have learned that the source power is just something that you can't really explain. And I kind of think about it as my higher self, not person, body, ipsita, ego, mind, but the source energy that is who I really am. And that's just something you kind of have to just go along with if you want to go on this journey. She talks about it in the first chapter. A discovery is said to be an accident meeting a prepared mind. Albert Szent-Györgyi. Another power art has is to hold a lot of shame over us, or maybe even others. Often we are wrongly shamed as creatives, and therefore we are wrong to create. And the reason it could bring shame is because it often reveals the truth of things, and sometimes the truth hurts. But they're always necessary to move on, right? It shines a light on what it's true. And when the light sheds on this revelation, we kill the messenger, and therefore they are brought shame for bringing us the truth. But don't we want to be in the truth? Don't we want to know what's happening, what's real? And that brings up dealing with criticism. And criticism is so necessary to upkeep our artistic integrity. Art can always be improved. There's always something that could be added, but there is a difference between good and bad criticism. Good criticism is one that gives it to you in a way with action items and makes you go, oh, that's what it's missing. Bad criticism makes you feel bad about yourself and no real way to fix that issue. And criticism is really hard to deal with, especially as a recovering artist who is already scared to death to create in the first place. So that's why it's so important to share your art with the people that you trust, at least at first. And even if you do get a harsh piece of criticism that really affects you, it's important to remember that sometimes that shitty piece of art needs to be made in order to make a better piece of art. Maybe it's the step you were taking into making genius. And art matures over time. I feel like Paintings, for example, always go through an ugly phase. Sometimes these feelings are shameful, hurtful, angry, anger. And because they reveal like the true feelings of the situation, we blame the art itself instead of what's actually the thing we should be focusing on. Which brings me to the next chapter, recovering a sense of integrity. In this journey, we really need to make sure that we're honest with ourselves and what we want. Morning pages force us to figure out what we really want. And in order to recover, we need to make honest changes. For example, when I'm writing my morning pages, maybe I will say like, everything's fine, like this happened, but you have to keep writing, and eventually you're going to say like, actually this is how I feel, so distraught, pain, whatever. Once we know what the feelings are, we can start to recover them and put them into our art. And this is kind of the chapter that we found out things, and there's a section on buried dreams. At this point, I feel like I started to paint more, which is something that I never did as a child, because I always had convinced myself I'm not a good painter. Like, I suck at drawing, I can't paint, so I never do it. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to paint. So I've been painting a lot, and it's become one of my favorite ways to express my feeling. And another truth that has come out is like my fear towards creating music. Like, I don't have as much fear, well, I do have fear with creating YouTube videos, but with creating music, it's been like my most difficult feat of artistic recovery. I can't seem to get myself to work on music and not be so critical of it, because I guess that form of art is the most vulnerable for me. I just feel like if I'm not the best, then I can't make music at all. That's not right. That's irrational. Week 6, recovering a sense of possibility. It's hard to imagine that we can be talented, cool artists and make a living from it, because that is just no way possible. We don't want our luck to run out, like keep creating this new stuff, but I don't want to like ruin it. God is the source of creation, and the source has an abundant supply of ideas, creation, and everybody has access to this source energy to create. So you're not taking it away from anybody, therefore you shouldn't feel a sense of shame for taking it. At first I didn't think it was a big deal, but I was like, wow, I think a very core fear was that I was taking too much, like there's only a subtle supply of creation, but receiving the gift of creation and creativity is actually an act of worship. And another thing that has helped me to recover a sense of possibility is remembering that I'm not the creator of art. Like, it's not me, it's not my art. It is my art, but when it's the identification of the art. So the creator is the owner of the artwork. It's not my human body putting it out there. My human body is just doing the work, but it's not actually the thing that's creating the art. So once I remembered that, it was easy to let art be created through me, because art doesn't have to be mine. It's not me. We are not the creator. Creator creates through us. We must realize this to let go of the ego. Once we realize we are not the doer, the creator of art, we can start to let go of association with who we are equals art. Once I realized that art is not created by me but through me, it was much easier not to get sucked into the negative loop of, oh, this is bad, like I'm stuck at this, blah, blah, blah. Seems like when I have a deadline and I got a business season coming up, yeah girl really just fucking cranks them out. Quantity, right? I'm celebrating. The creator is responsible for the quality and I'm responsible for the quantity. So sometimes you just have to produce and create in order to find the good thing, instead of everything has to be really, really amazing all the time. Recovering a sense of connection. Our connection is to the great creator. What's up, babe? And to connect with ourselves, we need to remember that we don't have to be perfect. We can let go of the ego running its fucking stupid mouth, blocking our creativeness. And the rest of the chapters kind of mesh together. So I'm just going to kind of give a summary of the rest. And I feel like this part of the book is more of a you need to do the whole thing to understand. But in summary, we can recover a sense of connection to us as people, human. And to do that, we need to remember that we don't have to be perfect. Like, art doesn't have to be perfect in its first draft. And that's kind of what a perfectionist does. And with that comes that negative cycles, negative talk when we're creating. Like, I notice myself when I'm painting something, I'll be like, oh my gosh, don't mess this up. Like, mean things like that. Imagine that. If someone was telling you that behind your back all the time, would you actually want to create? It's exhausting. So that's why you have to also recover a sense of compassion for yourself. You love yourself enough to be like, wait, that is not a word I should be using. For example, one we use and we don't even realize is laziness. I can't do it because I'm too lazy. But it's not laziness, it's actually fear. It's not procrastination. It's not laziness. It's fear of starting. So you just have to be compassionate with yourself. If you're scared, put your hands up, be like, yeah, I'm scared, I'm not gonna do it. But don't beat yourself up about it because that's the decision you made. You have to tune in to that face in yourself that art is created through you. And that means taking a lot of changes in your life, right? And this book will help you identify what changes there are. I can't summarize this entire book because I realize it's very specific to me. And so with that, I really, really hope that you embark on this Artist Way journey because it has changed so much for me. I feel like it's so much easier to create things and not feel like shit. And just, identifying it helps so much. It's finding that balance between ego and love, fear and love. There's nothing wrong with fear. Well, fear is mean, but there's nothing wrong with having fear, and you're never gonna not have fear. Fear is there to protect you from not making a fool of yourself and all of this. So all I say is whenever you find fears, go in the opposite direction. I am scared to make music. For example, I could be like, I'm grateful that I have this microphone that I can make music with, and I have this voice that I love, and I have the ability to not make music if I don't want to. It's gratitude. It's the opposite. Just love, love, love to combat and fight the hate. The fear is not going to go away easily. It's going to take a fight. But you gotta go through that war within yourself to come out and be able to be your true selves, which is not your ego self. It is source, whatever you want to call it, God, source energy, great creator, whatever. So yeah, the Artist Way journey has definitely changed my life, and I highly, highly recommend it if you want to embark on this 12-week journey. I still even do morning pages every day. That's how much that has changed my life, and I'm trying to get into more artist dates, but I spend so much time alone already. I feel like I'm always on an artist date, so whatevs. Anyway, I really appreciate you for watching this entire video. That's actually super impressive. This video is super long. Thank you for doing that for me. Make sure you subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram. That'd be cool. I'd love to talk to you. I hope you have a great day. Bye.